There we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spicy Divorce Party Planner TV show. I'm your host, Spice, and today I have my lovely co-host, Echo Maiden.
Hello.
Echo, can you introduce our guest?
Yes, today we'll be speaking with Miller Law Firm with AVIARA and Karen Miller, and they're going to give us, sorry, and they're going to help us with some of the questions that we might have regarding court cases and, just some of the general questions and situations that we may find ourselves in.
Pertaining to divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So what city are you representing, ladies?
LA and Florence.
Right. We are representing, we can represent anybody in the state of California, but our focus is Southern California, in which we focus primarily on LA County, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino. We also go outside of the county on cases where cases demand our presentation.
Okay, wonderful. I'm glad to hear that.
That's good.
Now, how long have you been practicing law?
Since 1996, I was licensed in California, and I was licensed to practice before the state Supreme Court of the United States since 2004 for 16 years. But I've been in the law industry since 1984. Let's see, what is that? Like almost 36 years.
Okay. So we got a professional on here. professional divorce attorney on here.
Yes.
We have a question that a lot of our guests ask, like, what can they do if they can't afford an attorney?
Well, that is a question that both of us, Aviara and I, face on many occasions. We go over the initial concerns of the client, and then we come to the price, and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have it." And one of the great things in the state of California is a client could file what they call a request for order and ask the other side to advance the fees. So that way, if the other side has more money, they are made to basically help pay the other party's attorney's fees and costs. So that's one way. Another way is a lot of
Payment options.
nonprofit corporations out there. They sometimes have scholarships, and we help them explore their options to see whether or not they qualify for programs.
And our office gives payment.
Oh yeah, and our office does payment plans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different
afford it.
variations in which people we find out what kind of sources, because they don't even realize that maybe their husband has, for example, a pension plan, and they don't realize that we can tap into that to get money extracted so they can fund their legal case.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's the first time I've heard anything like that. I've heard some women in Arizona, for instance, they said, well, I couldn't get really far with my divorce because I didn't have the funds for an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
John, is there a difference? Have you noticed a difference in Arizona versus California in that area? Do they offer the same resources?
It's very limited.
Okay, in Arizona.
For here, a lot of the times it's for extraneous circumstances, like for trafficking or, concerns of like with domestic abuse. If those things need to be established, there are resources for that. But I haven't really seen anything with just a normal divorce proceeding, assistance. Now,
Finances.
now I go through the tribe, and our tribe does provide attorneys for the divorces or anything like that. So I'm full Native American, and when any type of legal situation, they will provide an attorney.
Okay, but not everyone else. Not everyone else has access to the resources they just mentioned, right? Okay,
Right.
that's very interesting.
And some churches I know also help out their parishioners. We've had it where they go to their church board, and they, especially like domestic violence, and they will offer programs for especially ladies who are in an abusive relationship. So we explore different options to see whether or not they qualify for different programs.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you guys are on here because this is like a wealth of information that I've never heard before.
Right.
Have you heard anything like that before?
I knew that there were some resources like that, but I just didn't know how to channel them. They're just not out there.
Yeah, it's difficult to get to, I think, in Arizona, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
It's not in the interest of a lot of attorneys to kind of tell that to the client, you know.
Hmm.
Attorneys want to make sure that the client has enough fundings to do cases, especially in family law when there's a lot of things going on in their cases that they have to resolve.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, I'm glad our guests are watching because I'm sure they're going to really appreciate your law firm for giving us
Oh,
that
yeah.
information.
Oh,
There's
great.
so many, yeah, there's so many divorcees on here and they don't know what to do, especially when they're financially strapped.
Right.
One of our viewers, she's currently trying to get divorced, and she has the following questions for you. Her name's Tiffany Smith. Um, she wants to know, how does she get a divorce if the courts are closed in California?
Well, the courts are going to be reopening shortly. So
Okay.
that's a good thing. It should be opening. As a matter of fact, I have to go on a restraining order tomorrow.
We are open for certain things.
Right.
The
Okay.
court is open for certain cases, emergency cases. So it's not like they're totally closed. If it's an emergency, the courts will have a hearing on it.
And they are accepting e-filings. So if it's a brand new divorce case, it takes 6 months and 1 day is the shortest period of time in which one could get divorced statutorily in the state of California. So they could e-file today, let's say hypothetically, and then 6 months and 1 day, we know that something's going to be resolved or figured out with this coronavirus situation. So we've been helping people. We've been filing divorces. We've been filing their requests for orders. We've been
Restraining orders.
conducting business as usual.
Children's court.
Right, we've been to children's court, I've been to San Bernardino, I've been all over the planet, but you have to wear your mask and they take the, but we couldn't close down,
Yeah.
Close down,
Yeah.
there'd be,
Right.
we like helping our people.
Then there's a
That's
lot of emergencies, especially during this time. There's so many
Right.
emergencies within the homes. So if there is a lot of people out there that they're thinking, I can't do anything because the courts are closed, no. Make sure you let them know that you guys are an option, that we're an option, that we're available if they have any kind of emergency.
Hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
She has another question. She says she lives with her mother, and her soon-to-be ex is saying that the courts want her to have her own home. Is that true? Does she have to have her own home to get custody of her son? That's what he's trying to tell her.
No, well, a lot of people are going to try to persuade and manipulate, right, exactly.
Manipulate the situation.
The
It seems
courts,
to me like he's
the standard in
manipulating.
California is the best interest of the child. The main thing that California likes is a bed for the child. Not necessarily their own room, but a separate bed, a little bed for the child. As long as the house is clean and there's no obstructions in the home that could, cause challenges for the child, the little child and the mother can stay in the mother's home. That's fine.
Okay, because her soon-to-be ex is telling her that she cannot have her son to spend the night without her having her own place.
No,
Yeah.
that's not true.
I guess we're gonna let that judge decide, not the husband or the ex.
Right, and they can always appoint minors counsel in which they would do a home review. In other words, get information. I've been minors counsel appointed on many occasions, and I've had to go to the home and tell the judge whether or not it's a safe living environment for the child. And if it is, they're fine. They can stay right there with their lovely grandparent, with the mother, with the child.
Sister.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's good to hear.
I mean, think about it. A lot of
Are you talking about the court-appointed counsel or court-appointed advisor?
They call them minors counsel in California.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Don has questions about that particular
I do.
title a little later. But the third question Ms. Smith has is, the dad is not there. How do I show the courts that he's not caring for Jacob in a safe manner at those times?
Well, in the state of California, there's no specific age in which a child can be left at home. It's, again, the best interest of the child. But according to the American Pediatrics Institute, It's highly recommended that children that are under 11 or 12 of age should not be left unattended for long periods of time. They usually say 3 hours. So if he's leaving the child alone during the night, that's highly unadvisable. And I would suggest the mother files what they call a request for order. And if there are court orders in effect, ask for a modification immediately and get an ex parte, because that's not really in the best interest of a little 12-year-old to be left alone.
Are there court orders that
I honestly don't know. It sounds like she wants to file for.
we can give her the number and she can call us and we'll find out if there's orders. We can search the system, see what the orders are. I would suggest for her to call us, because that's a little bit more intense. It seems to me like he's got the child as primary and physical. But I wouldn't know, or Karen wouldn't know until we see the orders. So she might just give us a call.
And if they need modification, that would be a basis for a modification, because the courts are going to say if mother's available during those time periods, they always want to have complete physical custody, actual physical custody, especially during the night for a young child.
Is that applicable in every state to do modifications like that, or is that just California?
I would say in every state.
Every state has the right to go back to an order after a hearing.
If there's a change in circumstances.
Okay.
The first is best interest of the child, and then when there's court orders a judgment, then there has to be a significant change of circumstances.
Yeah, nothing is ever set in stone.
Right, nothing's ever set in stone. Right on.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
We can always change it.
That's right.
That is good news.
Right. You're not stuck.
I had a case prior to meeting Karen where the mother, and actually after that it ended up with Karen, Maria. She had her 4 daughters, and they had an order 1992. And she just saved that case with the girl, Flora.
Yes.
We got the girl back after she was 16 years old. So 16 years later, Karen changed the whole child panorama, because the girl had always wanted to live with the mother, but was manipulated by the father. So it seems to me like this Tiffany.
Yes, Tiffany.
Okay, so it seems to me like Tiffany has orders issue, and I think she probably went to the court already, and maybe she couldn't defend herself, and that's how they ended up in this situation. But like I said, nothing is set in stone. She can definitely give us a call. We can go back to a hearing and see if we can change that. In many cases, we have. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, we have.
That's amazing. I'm sure she'll.
I wish you guys were in Arizona.
I know.
We're 3 hours away from you. We go to Arizona. We go to Texas. We go to New York. We go to different states.
Okay.
Yeah. Arizona is not an issue to us. We're only like 3 hours away. We're in Palm Springs. So.
Oh, okay.
I
Wow.
think 3 hours.
But would you be able to work on a case in Arizona since you practice California law?
But what we do is we have liaisons all throughout the United States, and then we get a licensed attorney
to represent special appearance.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Look at our superstar attorneys over here. Special appearance.
We go through the client through the motion, and then we basically send out the attorney it needs to be. Yeah.
And we work in liaison with the licensed attorney of that jurisdiction. We've actually even what they call ad hoc VJ, where they give us permission with that licensed attorney to present ourselves before the court.
Wow. Wow. This is all new.
Yeah, we've been all over. We've been to New York. We've been to Florida.
We've been everywhere, yeah.
Texas, El Paso.
Great.
Wow. I'm super impressed. Dawn, did you want to go ahead and ask your questions now, or should I continue?
Yeah, I'll ask a few if you don't mind.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Could you provide us some advice about what we can do regarding custodial interference from the ex's girlfriend?
You would have to show where she's not operating in the best interest of your child.
Okay.
And like you said, not doing the fact check, things of that nature.
Right.
And you would show your different grievances and be non-emotional on it. Be very factual.
Yeah.
Point it out. say,
Okay.
put little headings. California 12-year-olds can file their own restraining orders.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so we've been having a lot of children filing, and some have been against the third parties
okay.
that the spouse brought into the house, and they are abusing the child. And now the child's protected. They're giving a little bit more voice in California. There was a law called the Elkins Task Force. It was done about 10 years ago in California. And now they're allowing children, at least they have to be 12, that can talk to the court and
Okay.
express their point of view. And it's been very helpful.
That is amazing.
Wow. That is. I was just saying in Arizona, I've noticed I've had like 3 female friends that are getting divorced, and they feel like they don't have that many rights. And
Hmm.
They need a good attorney.
I'm seeing in California. Okay,
They
they
need a good
have an attorney, and I just don't feel the attorney is working probably as hard as you guys are, or it seems like you guys have a lot more resources than the Arizona attorneys, because 2 of my friends have already gotten divorced, and they feel like it did not go in their favor. It's not going the way they hoped it to go.
Hmm.
So it sounds like California, they have a lot more rights.
Well, hopefully, maybe with your case or something, they can start a grassroots movement to try to give the empowerment for the ladies, because I know California, when I first started here back in 96, things were evolving. And one judge said that the ladies had to go literally kind of protest down at Sacramento, and they got in the rotunda, and all of them started to basically get the attention of the legislature. And a lot of these domestic violence laws started to go into effect. So, as we see, even in today's society, there's power in numbers, and you have to get your voice heard
Right.
and never give up.
Right. As
Even
long as
though
things
the way
can
it might
be
be
changed.
in Arizona right now, it's taken a while here in California, but things do change.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they sound like they're changing for the better in California.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Don, did you want to continue with more questions, or should I ask mine now?
Oh, you can. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't know if you wanted to. What if a client has been accused of physically abusing a child, but it is a false claim by the ex-spouse and their family, simply trying to get full custody of the children? How can they prove that that's not true?
Right.
Maybe a grandmother just trying to, act on behalf of her daughter.
Minors counsel.
Well,
How old is the daughter?
we've had cases like that in California, and as a matter of fact, if it's proven
How old is the child?
with evidence that the child is basically
Hypothetical. It's just hypothetical, because there's some people that make false claims that the other party is abusing them, and it's false.
right.
And they want to prove that they did not abuse a child. Like, say they're trying to say the husband beat their son, and it's not true at all.
Who do they
The
want?
grandparent and the ex-wife just want to.
Well,
Then
in the state of California, if it's proven that they committed perjury, they could actually, there's some severe repercussions in which they could lose complete custody and be sanctioned, and even the district attorney could be referred to the case and pick up a criminal case. So California takes that very, very seriously, and there is law statutorily where you can lose complete custody of your child because they consider that abuse if you're
Now,
lying.
how can you prove?
Right.
How can you prove that? No, I did not physically abuse my child. Is there any professionals that you can hire to prove that? Yeah.
Right. You'd get minors counsel,
bold-faced
hopefully
lie.
a good one, or you'd have the child, if the child's old enough, over 12, could talk to the court and say, hey, I'm not being abused, unless the child's being manipulated. And
What if it's a child under 12? Because I actually watched court cases, and I've seen some people say that.
Oh,
I think that would be another case.
That they were
They need to get a child custody evaluation,
like that, and
things are really examined properly by the professionals.
Say that again, Karen. It was frozen.
Well, it's called the child custody, a 730 child custody evaluation in California, in which the mental health experts would start to investigate the situation. And if it becomes really bad, they're going, for false allegations, probably it's going to be a Department of Child Family Services case opened. And again, that parent can lose complete custody. So
Oh, good. Okay.
they take that very, very seriously and ask for proof, ask for evidence. And I would say that the person needs to vigorously fight in order to protect.
That's true. That's very true. Can a client be denied visitation with their child if they smoke weed in California?
In the state of California, it's legal to smoke marijuana. That was passed. So, but they can't put restrictions on the usage, for example, just like they do with, even though alcohol under a certain limit, you're allowed to engage, drink alcohol. They would say that you cannot be intoxicated while you have custody of the child. And they may put limits on where you can't smoke in front of the children. So that way children are not exposed to smoke, marijuana, or, anything dealing with any kind of paraphernalia.
What kind of parent wants to have weed and do weed in front of their children? May I just ask?
Well, they're out there. I've seen them.
Yeah, we've all seen them. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I was curious.
They do say, well, it's legal, and then you say, no. It's legal, but like anything, you have to show restraints in your behavior. Do it outside. Do it when you don't have the kids.
Yeah.
And do not be under the influence of any, even if it's prescription drugs. We've had some of our clients that are abusing, oxycodone or something.
Yeah.
And the courts, even though it's medically prescribed, the courts can't put restrictions and say that you can't be under the influence while you have custody of your child.
We don't recommend it.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Great advice. Can a client legally keep their child from a spouse's new lover?
The answer on that is it depends. And where does it depend? Only, not out of spite, not out of jealousy, not out of revenge. Only if it's not in the best interest of the child. So if that person has a criminal record where they were domestically violent or they're pedophilic, or like I explained earlier, where our 12-year-old client had to get a restraining order against the new lover, third party, because he's abusing the child.
Yeah.
But you have to go to the court and get court orders. You just can't unilaterally say, no, I'm keeping you. Or they go to the police department and they get immediately an emergency protective order that gives them a couple of days. Let's say the third party or the lover abuses the child, hypothetically. They would go to the police department, let's say it was over the weekend, like on a Friday, and then it lasts until Monday. And in the meantime, they can contact their attorney, and then the attorney can go in and get a restraining order. But I would never advise to ever unilaterally change a court order on your own, because they can hold you for contempt of court.
Oh, wow.
And that's that could end up in jail if the person disobeys a court order.
Okay.
So you have to do every change by the book. And if there is stuff in between time when courts are closed, then you have to go to the police department. And if that doesn't work, then you have to report them to the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS.
What would sorry.
Please.
What would constitute abuse? Whether, if it's like mental or the reason. All right.
If a partner cheated while married, will a client get the full custody of children in California?
California is a no-fault state.
Yeah.
And they don't. I had one client, nice husband and wife. We did mediation and we came up with a settlement agreement. So I got to meet both as a mediator, because we do mediations. AVIARA is a trained mediator also, and I do mediation.
Yeah.
And
so many cases we do the mediation, we don't even have to go to court.
Right. On this particular case, both seemed like very charming individuals. And I asked the lady, I said, "What? May I ask you, why did you divorce this man?" And she said, "One day I woke up, I looked at him
Yes.
and said, I don't want to be married to you anymore. So, I mean, it can be literally that benign. You know, it's just like, why am I married to you?
I always say when somebody says I don't want to be with you, there's always a third party in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. So,
What? Oh, there's a third party. Oh, wow.
yeah. So in California, they don't care if you're cheating. The only thing they care about is the safety and best interest of the child.
Okay.
Okay.
Some states they do care, because I know, like in New York and things
Virginia.
like that, they do have laws about that. But California,
You all can live in the same house.
oh yeah, yeah. They sometimes have the lover right there, and say you can't kick out that guy or gal.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I think that it applies to your Arizona too. That's Arizona as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a no-fault state also?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So a client believes that an ex has mental health issues. How can they prove this, and will this restrict or reduce their visitations?
We already talked about that 7:30
Right.
evaluation.
It's still,
We talked about it about 5 minutes ago regarding a 7:30 evaluation.
Okay.
It's the same thing. We
Okay.
to that.
right. Child custody evaluations are very elaborate, and they can do mini psych evals that get right to the point, and then they can do elaborate psychological evaluations. And they're wonderful because and then they also have different little tests, like the Minnesota personality type test, in which they find out if the person is a narcissist, if they're this, they find out what the situation is, what's driving the situation. Is it psychological, or is it physiological concerns? Is the person just hungry while they're acting all erratic, or are they diabetic? Is there a medical concern? And that's where you get a complete holistic evaluation of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do those tests before we date people.
Isn't that the truth? Oh, yes. Have you ever done? Exactly. I've seen those tests. You should go online and read those Minnesota personality type tests. They're incredible. And they're trying to catch you for inconsistencies. They'll ask the same question like 5 different times in different ways. They want to see if you answer yes here, no there, and all that stuff.
Okay, I will definitely look into that. That's really interesting information. Let's see. What can a client do if their ex is behind in child support? They're not paying.
They need to go back in the court, and they file what they call a request for order. And what?
Where did they file for child support? Was it a private court, or did they go public? Because if they went public, that's a whole different issue too.
Right, and they can assign it to the Department of Child Support Services in California.
Need to know where that
And the
is.
nice thing about that is they have the ability to take away their driver's license in California, tax intercepts. They take away their bank accounts, bank levies. So they have more power than the private attorneys do.
Wow.
And that's all for free, the Department of Child Support Services. They just go online, open up a case, and they'll immediately do an accounting and
It's a
find
good
out what
way
the
of calling
arrears.
attention to someone that's not paying.
Oh boy, does it. I mean, imagine having your driver's license and you're a truck driver taken away. You caught their attention.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, they take your driver's license too. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that, Dawn?
I heard that they could also be arrested if it goes on too long, or if it's not rectified, that they can eventually be arrested.
You can do, when I first started, they used to have they had the DA, the district attorney, enforcing the cases, but now they have a department. So now the only way they're going to do it criminally involvement is a private attorney would have to file contempt. And that the person had the ability to pay, had the money, and is willfully and intentionally not paying.
Okay, because in Arizona, I thought they go to jail if they don't pay child support. Is that still true, Dawn? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know the update on that. I don't think so. I think they try to find many options for that person to pay first before they actually take any type of criminal sanctions against them.
Right. They don't like, even on contempt proceedings in California, we had one gentleman with
If
44
they're working, they'll garnish
counts.
their weights.
Yeah. They'll garnish their wages. They'll do a lot of
their
things. Even
wages.
if the
That's
court
the first
finds
thing they do. Yeah.
them guilty.
They
they're
don't get
gonna-
a paycheck. They go to work, but they don't get a paycheck.
Right.
First.
Right. They'll garnish their wages up to 25%.
Yeah.
Yes, I did hear that.
How can we speed up the divorce process and get it finalized as soon as possible? Some people want to be divorced like.
Yeah, they should get married in Vegas.
Well, if you married in Vegas, which I didn't know because somebody was married in Vegas, won't say who. You can have it done literally like in a week. So that's a good thing. So
Does it matter the length of the marriage or no?
Pardon me?
Does it matter the length of the marriage?
No, no,
Wow.
no.
Isn't that fun, girls?
Yes, I mean that's a good thing, you know. But in California, it's statutory 6 months and 1 day.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you couldn't have the whole settlement agreement all done. Doesn't mean that you can't submit the paperwork and the court sends back, hello, you're divorced. But if I file today, the court's going to basically say the earliest you could be divorced is 6 months and 1 day.
Mhm.
And so that's the earliest in California. I don't know what it is in Arizona.
Okay.
I don't either. I just know that there's a lot of, when it's a custody battle, it's long.
Right, but you can bifurcate the status in California, and I think a lot of people don't know that. So you don't have to have everything done. You can say, I want my status to be done, 6 months and 1 day. File a motion, and that can basically cut the divorce, or pardon me,
And then continue with the.
and you can get remarried if you needed to get remarried, or you just want to be done with this person. You know how y'all get at that point, it's like, you know what, I'm done. And that way you know you're divorced and fight your child custody battles on a deferred basis.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And we've done that on many people. I mean, I've gone, literally I had, we're also ministers. We got 2 people divorced,
Wow.
and then we got them remarried to other people like the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, we got it like on a next party basis. They will do divorces if they've done their, if they have already been in the process for 6 months and 1 day, they will allow you to go in on an ex parte basis and ask that the court has the status terminated. It brings them back to a single person. And that way they can, if they have a marriage, like, you know, coming up in the near future. Yeah.
I've heard some stories like that where they have quick marriages afterwards. They just got divorced and like a month later they're married to somebody. That still amazes me.
Yeah. Now we even had clients that
Really? That amazes you? We go to court. We go to court and they bring their new one, and we have to sit in the outside with them, and basically have everyone there having a party while they're going through a divorce.
Oh, that's horrible. That's a bad situation.
Yeah, we even got proposed to after our clients got divorced. They said, "Oh, I'm going to test drive this and see if I'm really divorced." And they asked, and they turned to AVIARA, and I go, I know who AVIARA is like to, and no, I don't think he's going to allow that.
These clients are something else.
They are.
That is funny. Here's another question. If I were to marry someone, or a client was to marry someone in Arizona, and then they inherit assets and property, and they decide to get divorced in California, does the ex-husband have rights to them?
Inheritance is always treated separately in the state of California. There's a few things that are exempt. We are a community property state. So basically, it's called the time rule. Once you get married, everything you accumulate is going to be considered community property. One of the exceptions is inheritance, but you have to keep it separate. If, God forbid, you decide to commingle your money and put it in a joint account, guess what? You just made it community property, and now the community is entitled to that inheritance. So the advice to everybody
Oh.
out there, if you have
Oh, I
inheritance,
can't do it.
if you have money that you made before your marriage, you better keep it always in a separate account, have a separate accounting, and do not mix up and commingle the money, or you've just gifted the community part of your share.
Wow.
Okay. So keep a separate bank account?
Yes,
Does that
separate
work?
accounts under your name alone.
Okay.
And do
Okay.
not pay any community bills with that. It's called tracing. California, they will trace. And
Wow.
you decide to start, you're benevolent and decide to pay the mortgage of your home, guess what? You've gifted the community.
Yep.
And we've had that. I mean, usually they're settled, those cases, but if it had to go to trial, it's not a good thing.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. What if I'm uncomfortable on a regular basis brings like different women? There's always a different woman he brings to these visitations, like when we exchange the kids.
One of our ideas is have the exchange at the police department
Okay.
or
Oh.
a third party neutral environment. For example, maybe McDonald's, something with videos, things of that. Or if they feel safe with maybe a mother-in-law or a father-in-law, auntie, uncle, maybe they could have that person present. So that way things, don't get out of sorts. And we've also had it where the courts have allowed them to videotape the exchange if there's a third party that's always trying to interfere. So that way there's
Okay.
proof that we got third party interference.
Okay.
If that, especially I'm thinking about your scenario that you were, maybe that, and the court would allow that.
Okay. Okay. Good.
I get the most alimony.
The most alimony, I'll say what I'm laughing here, but my assistant said, marry a rich person, but that's, sorry, I know, exactly. But
Thanks for the info.
yeah, right, exactly. Is that out? But like you're saying, we have to do better questionnaires before we hook up with these people. But all jokes aside, what you can do is discovery and also get subpoenas out. So that way, never take the person's word that, well, I make, whatever, $5,000 or something like that. Well, you need to see the proof and demand the proof and get it directly from the employers, from the bank accounts, and take their depositions if need be. That gets costly, but like we talked about earlier, if they got enough money, make them pay for it.
Is there a way for us to get military, diagnosis and, like their findings for the VA and things like that? Is there a way that we could obtain them? Because I'm finding blocks in that regard.
Did they do subpoenas?
We are initially now we're going through the attorney and requesting them, and then to see if they will produce them, and then it's going to be brought to court if they do or they don't.
I see. I would subpoena the VA.
Okay.
And the VA, and they can object. It's
Okay.
called a subpoena. Dookies take them for personal records. They may object, and if they object, then that goes to the court, and then the court has to determine whether or not that's a relevant piece.
A client is a celebrity singer and feels her husband just married her for her wealth, and he has had a child outside of their marriage. What should you do? What should she do?
If she didn't get a prenup before she was married, a prenuptial agreement, there's a thing in California called a Post-Nuptial Agreement. And I'm sure in every state, it's basically a contract.
Okay.
If the guy allegedly loves her and it's not for the money, I'd do an agreement in which I would say you're going to get no spousal support. You're going to get nothing. What you came with, the little bag you came with is the little bag you get to hit the road with. Yeah, and while we're together, we can all be friends and work together. But if you're deciding to, do your little extracurricular activities, then you get to do it on your own. And while we're together, and I would get it all written up legally. And we've done post-nuptial agreements, and they're legal in California if they're written up legally.
Okay. Okay, good. A client was married in an arranged marriage, and she's discovered he's a horrible lover. Can she file for divorce?
Yeah, yeah, it's a no-fault divorce in California. And
Okay.
if the reason they're turning over in the bed is because they didn't like the performance, then they could say, hey, it's been nice, but not real nice. And, and they can. They can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
California's kind of cold on that.
That is so funny. uh, Divorcing a police officer who got fired from police department, will I be entitled to his retirement benefits?
The answer is if when he was fired, if he's still eligible to claim his retirement benefits,
Yes.
then you would be in California. That's one of the parts of community property because you earned community work, skill, effort, and labor that you accumulated during the marriage. That would be part of your entitlements for collection, and you can get a part of the retirement benefits.
Okay. Don, do you have another question?
I do. I heard in court, when you're in the court setting, that the best solution for your side is not to be emotional, um, because it irritates all, I guess, all the like the judge and the attorneys and stuff like that. But then I'm hearing on, you know, from other people who have been through court and were emotional, um, you know, there is a empathy there as well. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way would be to approach the court. If I should be emotional when it's, you know, when it's,
Natural.
yeah, when it's
Right.
natural, or do I remain neutral so that it's not, you know, irritating anybody, or, you know, I'm just trying to figure that out.
Well, remember, you're trying to communicate a message. It's
Mhm.
like your storytelling.
Okay.
And if you're crying or your emotion gets in the way of the court reporter getting the message conveyed, it's not good for you ultimately because the judge may not understand what your story is and what your bottom line is. So you have to be empathetic while communicating your story. And
Okay.
that's why you need an attorney that's going to go over the questions with you so you don't get hit with them first time in the court. And you're like shocked, like, whoa, I didn't know they could ask that,
Right.
and that way you kind of prepare yourself. However, when you're communicating and it's some things that is touchy, the courts will allow you to, tissue up or things like that. I mean, I have one lady who was getting a restraining order against a gentleman, and she was one of the head city managers of a city by where we're located. And she was so cold. And I had to literally tell her, you got to be a little bit more sympathetic. That you're coming across, and I said, you're not going to get your restraining order. I said, I understand that's how you are on your job, but I said, are you really fearful of this man? Because the way you're conveying your message is you're so cold.
I
So
see.
that's where you kind of have to have a delicate balance of how to integrate it in your message.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
and do it appropriately. So again, the court reporter gets all of your information down. So if you have to appeal it, you saved a good record.
Okay.
You'll hear attorneys say all the time, for the record, for the record. You
Right.
need to make a good record because if you don't and you appeal it, then your message has not been conveyed and you don't have a good appeal.
Mm. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Are you there?
Oh, that was great.
Thank you.
We have another question. Ex-wife has created all kinds of debt that I didn't agree to. I will be responsible for her debts. Oh, wait, let me rephrase that. Ex-wife has created all kinds of debt that I didn't agree to. Will I be responsible for her debts that are like sky high credit card purchases?
Are they divorced? Next one.
Well, there in the state of California, you have fiduciary duties of disclosure to both spouses. So if one party is a spendaholic, let's say, or maybe even takes money out for gambling or for drugs, or even to buy. We had one client who started to buy for their new lover, like trinkets and things, rings, diamond little bracelets. And when the records came down, I even said, "Did this go to your wife?" He said, "No." And I said, "And you think the community is going to repay you for that?" I said, "That's a breach of your fiduciary duties." And those items, when your attorney would get the records through discovery, would be able to be excluded. But that's where you and your attorney needs to get all the records. And you don't want to have a MasterCard bill of $32,000. You need to go through each and every line item and see whether or not somebody was buying things that you did not consent to. And they would be excluded from the community property equation.
Okay.
Wow.
What if they were the causation of additional fees, or say an eviction or closing the accounts? Like, if all the accounts were closed, you didn't have access to any money to pay the rent, and you were not allowed to come back to the property, and then they left without taking care of the property or anything that applied to any of the bills that were supposed to be paid. Are they responsible because of their actions that they took?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's where the attorney, again, has to find out if they have other resources, like maybe,
401k?
right, 401k.
Mhm.
If they have another bank account, they're going to have to reimburse you for anything that you have lost due to their, again, breach of fiduciary duties, not paying the community debt, and causation of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you get all the records, you go through it line item by line item. And I don't know if Arizona has that, but we have all discovery. Do you have like disclosure requirements?
Yes.
Okay. Then you go through all your disclosures, and if things are not adding up, then you have to basically go to the other person and say, "Look, you had this happen, you had this happen." And when you're trying to divide the assets and debts, they're going to have to pay more because of their activities.
Okay.
Wrongful activities, shall I say.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh, here's another one. My ex-husband constantly watches porn while watching our children. Can I, as a parent, do anything about this situation? Like reducing his visitations?
Yes. Yes. But say what you're saying?
You said it.
Okay. File a request for order or a modification if they don't have orders, and show that this is not in the child's best interest, that they're failing to, basically supervise the child during their custodial time. Again, a common theme, if you have physical time with your child, the court is assuming you're going to take care of your child.
Mm-hmm.
If you fail to do so, then you can lose that custodial time. So if they're doing pornography, if they're doing anything that's not being with the child and taking away from their custodial time,
That's not good.
they could
That's not
possibly,
even good signs.
no,
If a parent is watching pornography, that's not a good sign.
Mm-mm.
No.
right.
No.
And you may have to ask for another little psychological evaluation because,
And
You know-
check the child. Check the child with the
Right.
doctor.
right.
I hate to
So
say it.
could that be abuse in itself?
You don't know what's going on in there.
Because we've had it where all of a sudden the child saw some of the pornography and then they were acting out.
Mm.
Then and that was a mother with the new lover. And the father who I represented actually ended up getting the majority of custodial time, because if you fail to protect your child, then you could lose custody. That's all part. I mean, what you do on your off time when you don't have your kids, you can do.
You can dress in
Yeah.
the closet and be a woman if you
Yeah,
like to.
right. Exactly. Whatever you want to do. It's a free world. But when it comes down to your time with your child, you have a higher duty, a higher obligation. That's your responsibility.
Okay, I'm going to share that with my friend because she did get divorced in Mesa, Arizona, as Dawn knows, our mutual friend. And she was dealing with the exact situation that I just mentioned. And still the father got like 50-50 custody, or maybe 60-40 custody. And so we just feel like in Arizona, maybe, I don't, it just don't feel like the women are having
Arizona
right.
sounds like when I first started in California. California's made so much progress.
Mhm.
Again, don't give up.
Let's
And
move on, because we have to go. We have to meet
yes,
a client
yes.
at 3:30.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
We have a client at 3:30, so.
Oh, okay.
sorry.
Okay. What makes your law firm different than other law firms?
Us? No, just
we try to treat every client like family.
family.
Okay.
And
Oh.
they're not a name, they're not a number.
No.
They're a person. I have clients now who I'm representing their children, their grandchildren, where I represented the parents, so it's generational. So,
Wow.
and I think that's wonderful. We don't even have to do that much marketing because we get a lot of referrals,
Yeah.
Okay.
happy clients. And what we try to do is we try to listen, communicate with our clients, and we handle it. We don't pawn it off to some, like some law firms
No.
that you,
So they've
Take-
never seen, the client has never seen the attorney.
we had that the
At
other
one point
day.
yesterday, we had a client that paid $11,000, never saw the attorney.
Oh,
Always
Oh,
a-
that's
Just saw the
horrible.
article. And
I
then
believe it. I believe it. That's horrible.
a lot of clients out there, a lot of people out there are experiencing that, where they go to a third party's office and then they said, don't worry, the attorney's going to take care of it. They never speak to the attorney. They keep on paying, and their case is in trouble, and then we have to come and fix it. It's ridiculous.
That's right.
I believe that. Dawn, I just have one more question. What was the title that you had questions about? Because my other friend who got divorced, she had a problem with the person in court. What's the title of the woman in the court that you guys both are not happy with?
The appointed court advisor
Yeah,
is,
we talked about.
Right. That sounds like minors counsel, and you can get rid of them. You could do a motion to have them removed, but you're going to have to show cause. I've
okay.
done it myself. I had a case where our client had a Harry Potter cookbook, or pardon me, no, it was using it for a date planner, Harry Potter. And the minors counsel thought she was a witch and tried to write it up in the report. And I said, and it was going to get our client because she was with LA Unified School District, a bigwig. And I had to have all her reports stricken. As I said, you know what, she's going to lose her job because of your incompetence. So you have to be willing to show where they're incompetent, basically,
Okay.
and they're not doing their job.
Okay.
I'm glad to hear that. I was wondering, does that make them look bad in court? Is it going to make them look like they're problematic? No, not the advisor, but the client, like John or.
No, I mean,
You're a concerned parent.
Right.
You're just a concerned parent. Why would that? No.
Anytime you're advocating for your child and you're doing it in the best interest of your child, if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, retaliatory, vindictive reasons, then that's going to be pretty much not a good thing. But if you're doing it for your child, you're always doing right.
Okay. Do you have any additional businesses besides the law firm?
Yes. We have a beauty salon.
Yes.
And so we're trying to help people not even externally trying to make them look their best. So that way they feel confident and they feel good about themselves. And that way, a lot of these ladies, I mean, and AVIARA is great with that, who people, this really wears them down.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you've done their hair, you've done their makeup.
We do everything. We have estheticians in there. We do
Right.
facials. We do
And
hair. We kind of help them out, make them feel a little bit better. So that's.
once they feel better about themselves, they can be a better parent,
Yeah.
a better communicator to the judge. And we've had some people where all of a sudden, even the judge and all of us were like, whoa, I mean, I'm sorry to say, you have to look your very, very best for the court. I know it sounds artificial, but if they're feeling down on their luck, that's going to kind of come through when they're at the court.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I'm so excited about your business, about your salon. I mean, I think that's a fabulous idea for a lot of our divorcees. Like you mentioned, they are going through rough times and they're pretty isolated. So it'd be
from what I experienced, is a lot of people that do come in. Remember, these women have been very severely emotionally abused.
Yeah.
And they feel ugly, they feel uncomfortable, they feel unhappy for how they look, because so many years after years of having this person telling them, you're old, you don't look good, you don't take care of yourself, it's really hard.
Oh, yeah, it's sad.
So they come in emotionally damaged.
And the
Yeah.
words that we hear that they're called,
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't call your dog these words.
Yeah.
And we have to hear this, and we're like, and we're looking at the person, they're a very beautiful person, and they don't see themselves as beautiful anymore.
Yeah.
And then we see their little driver's license, maybe 5 years ago or so, and they were gorgeous. And we're like, oh my goodness, look what this person did.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
we try to recapture that beauty, because we know it's there, but the divorce process really has hurt them, not only internally, but externally.
Yeah.
That's true. Now, how can we get in touch with you lovely ladies and find out more about your businesses, actually?
Oh, sure. They can call us. We have our bilingual line if they need bilingual.
So the bilingual line is 323-327-2289. It's 24 hours. 323-327-2289. And then we have the law firm's number, which is 310-941-9706. 310-941-9706. You can also find us on Facebook, USA Law Firm.
Okay.
And Karen Miller or AVIARA Miller.
Okay. And what about your beauty salon?
Our beauty salon, they can use that 323 number. It'll route to our number, and we're located it's called Santori Hair Salon, and it's on the Old Town Torrance.
Okay. Fabulous. Thank you, ladies. I know you have to run, and I'm so happy that you guys took the time and answered all these questions that so many of our viewers need help with. And
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To revisit this video.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. And thank you for having us as your guests today.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.